Hey, deserving listeners, the Ultimatum, let's watch. My name is Dr. Kirk Honda. I'm a therapist and a professor. Since this is a psychology YouTube channel, we might get into some triggering content. I usually try to alert people if there's something particularly triggering, but there are a lot of potential triggers for us. And you want to take care of yourself, talk with your therapist, take a break from watching things that are triggering. So let's watch.
Said these things in confidence, and then you went and told them.
I'm saying things that I want and need from someone in a marriage. An experience like this, when you're supposed to be married to someone else, to me, I feel like you're being very unloyal to me, going to talk shit about your wife.
Oh, duh. So I'm sure all y'all were thinking this and maybe beginning a comment below. It slipped my mind. She just got back from talking with Kat and talking endless crap about Alex. I mean, she literally said the phrase, you need to demand, she's saying to Kat, you need to demand your rights or what you want in this relationship. And if he doesn't give it to you, then you need to leave him now. She said that Alex has red flags, like many large red flags. He's a compulsive liar. What did she say about him? She said he's inconsiderate. He is, shady. He's always surface. He's self-centered. He's not vulnerable. He never admits he's wrong. It was an onslaught of talking crap about Alex. So the self-awareness okay, does Roxanne have beef? Sure. But you would think at some point it would kick in, well, I was doing this exact thing. And from observation from the outside, it was way more. Now, maybe it's justified. Maybe Alex is a monster. But at the very least, probably an hour earlier, she was doing the exact thing that she's accusing him of doing.
I'm talking about these things to you in confidence. About things that I want to
You're admitting it again, but...
Oh my God.
Oh my God, I can't handle a conversation.
Yes, that's how you probably fucking talk to Kat. It makes her feel weak.
That's what you just did
That shit
to
doesn't
me.
make me feel weak, Alex.
I think it does.
You fucking wish, because you're used to that.
Okay, well, they've escalated, and they're being openly hostile. And then he mocks her with sarcasm, which is not cool. And Roxanne, I think, adeptly identified it and reflected it that, well, you probably do that to Kat, and it's designed to make me feel weak, and it doesn't work on me. Yeah. It's interesting that Roxanne could very quickly identify that and state it. And then he says, and now it's edited, so who knows, but he says, I think it does make you weak. I think he's saying, because you can't handle this conversation, you are weak. Yikes.
Never brought anything up, you would have never acted like anything happened. And that's who you are. You're a little fake. So.
What?
Your demeanor was, great night, insightful. We all learned a lot about each other. Had a blast. That's what you were saying. Why are you so fucking, just be real?
Yeah, he, as I said earlier, he could have snuck in there pretty quickly that, well, I also had a talk with your ex, Antonio, and I told him what I told him. But I think what he said originally wasn't a lie. It was just not the entire story. Because I think, it was true that a lot of the guys were thinking about, aside from Antonio, because he seemed real focused on Alex, but the other three seemed to, and we only saw little snippets of their conversation. There's a lot of exploration about needs and relationships and whatnot. Not all of it was stuff that I would agree with, but, they're exploring it.
What?
I don't want to live in an apartment with someone that I can't trust to talk to. You're twisting things and saying, I don't think she respects you.
I don't think you respect him.
And I think you fucking walk all over Kat. Maybe Kat's used to someone who's not a gentleman. You haven't been any of the things that I need.
Okay, so it could be true as well that Alex is not nice to Kat and doesn't treat her very well. Hard to know, though. Roxanne and Antonio, I think they wear their heart on their sleeve, and so they're very... they provide data for us to look at. I'm having a hard time imagining what Alex, and it really runs the gamut, and it's hard to get a beat on which one, and maybe we'll get more data, but Kat was kind of agreeing with Roxanne's statement about him being inconsiderate and a liar and all these other things. But then later was indicating, I think, that Roxanne was exaggerating or wrong. And then, so is Alex that way or is he not? I mean, the dynamic is similar between Roxanne and Antonio and between Alex and Kat, right? But obviously different. And Kat has exhibited, although she is very pleasing and very nice, similar to Xander, because I remember with Xander, I remember thinking, is Xander a people pleaser and puts themselves aside, or are they just so differentiated that they just don't really get into it with people unless they need to? And Xander later on revealed that Xander can push back when Xander feels like they need to, which I was like, oh, okay. And Kat did the same thing. When push came to shove, she's like, hey, don't say that about Alex. That's not okay. So I don't know, but I don't know what that says, but it might say something. So on one hand, Alex and Kat could have this extremely toxic relationship. On the other hand, it could have sort of within normal range kind of issues. So I just can't really tell yet.
I don't need to help every time you clean.
That was the first time we've cleaned. We said we're going to clean on Sundays. It was Sunday. Clorox was out, Windex was out. I was doing this, putting dishes away, cleaning everything, doing the bathroom, scrubbing the toilet. I came out and said, you going to help?
Great job.
Would you say great job?
Yeah, good job. That's awesome. You're not my mom.
Yeah, I can't really tell because Alex, he has kind of an odd way of defending himself. So it has a look of someone that is very inconsiderate, the way that he responds. But I think he has kind of an odd way of defending himself. Like when Roxanne asks Alex, do you think that Kat thinks you're the best man in the world? He's like, yeah, but I think it's possible that he just thinks he's answering the question, does Kat really love you? And he's like, yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm just trying to see good in Alex or something, but the way he answers these questions, it comes across like he's extremely self-centered and wants her to be a slave. It's like, good job, lackey. Thank you for cleaning the house. Do more. You missed a spot. That's the way he's coming across. Or, because the other thing I can't tell is, did Roxanne, how did that whole communication go with the cleaning day, right? Was it that she was passively trying to send a message and he was just busy with something and didn't know that that's what she was trying to communicate, that she's saying, hey, I want to clean together, or I want you to clean, and she was passively communicating that? I don't know. It's just, I can't really tell. Was it just a misunderstanding? I don't know. There's just not enough information. But he certainly responds in a way that slots right in to a lot of our complaints about sexist men.
You're not going to just boss me around and make me do things. If I'm trying to relax on Sunday, you're not going to boss me around. I'm going to get to things. I'm an adult. I'm a mature guy. I understand when things need to be cleaned and when they don't. I'm going to handle my stuff. You kind of need to stay in your own lane and let
Alex,
me
fuck off. Oh my
be a
God.
human.
Stay in my own lane.
Yeah, it's just the way he phrases things. I think it could reveal something about him. On the other hand, he was talking about how he thinks that she's used to pushing people around. Who knows if that's accurate? Could be. And that he has learned how to push back on that so that things don't become imbalanced. That's what he was saying. I can't remember who he was saying it to, but we could see that being true. We could also see her just asking him to pull his own weight around the house, and he just sees this world in those situations in a different way. But if she is being pushy and demanding and, controlling or something, and he is a mature, self-confident guy who is saying, I'm busy right now, I'll get to all those chores on my own time. I don't need you to micromanage that. I clean at this time, or I spontaneously clean, or I was thinking about doing it tomorrow, something like that. And since he's so reserved, he doesn't say that out loud, or I don't know. I can't tell. It's either just a simple misunderstanding, or or she's demanding and controlling, or he is a misogynistic, self-centered, narcissistic individual. I can't. What do you think?
Jump up and help. There are a few times where I was like, not right now. I'm doing my own, or I am actually at work. I'm not gonna help you with groceries. I am in a different world. I'm at work. I think a mature, respectable woman would know that that is totally acceptable.
Yeah, it's hard to know what this. We'd have to see it, but the way it sounds is that, yeah, he's at work at home, but he does have the ability to step away from. It's not like he's in a meeting or something. He does have the ability to help her with the groceries, and because he just doesn't feel like it or has a problem with people telling him what to do, he tells her to screw off. That's the kind of the way it sounds, right?
A mature, respectable woman. Seriously?
I stand by it.
Stand by it. You're full of yourself, Alex. You're fucking
Maybe I
full.
am.
You are. You are full of yourself.
Okay.
I am literally done with this conversation. I'm done.
It's interesting that he agreed. There was another moment like that where Alex seemed to say something like, yeah, maybe there is something kind of wrong with me in this way. Or maybe I like this about myself. I don't know, but it's hard to know what he meant by that. He certainly has an interesting way of arguing. There's Antonio and Alex they're certainly interesting. There's this interesting way in which they talk that I can't tell what's going on. There's a lot of signs that something is going on, but I don't know, I can't tell. Yeah. Now, the bigger thing here is that they tried to date each other for 3 weeks, but is it even dating? I feel like all the couples, well, except for Trey and Ryan, right? Similar to last season where Xander and Yoli were seemingly the only ones that really kind of hit it off, right? Where they were actually staring into each other's eyes and attracted to each other and that sort of thing. And even with Trey and Ryan, it doesn't appear that it's been physical. Not that defines everything, but I think it might mainly be Trey that is like, oh, I really like the way that Ryan makes me feel. I don't know if I'm going to be with Ryan, but it really informs my relationship with Raya. Anyway, so the bigger picture here is the two of them tried to be friends, probably is a better way to look at it. They tried to be friends and tried to try on for size what it would be like to be in a relationship with someone without having any of the things that come along with it, like mutual attraction and being in love. It's like the show is designed to push people together to act like they're married for 3 weeks, but it's like 25 years into the marriage when they're not having sex anymore and there's no more romance. It's just living together and cleaning together and cooking together and going to parents' house together. And so anyway, the bigger picture is it just didn't work out between these two. Does any of this indicate anything about their personalities? I can't tell. Sometimes I can tell, and I'm really watching. I'm like, because I'm curious, and there's not enough here. It could be indicating something that I've talked about, but it also could just be a misunderstanding, like I said, or the stress. There's things about them that make them look pretty bad, these two, but it might not actually be the way that it looks.
It's not really my nature to raise my voice and to get out of control. I think that there was just like a lot of emotions. I had a lot on my mind.
Yeah.
And I was glad to tell you things I was feeling, but I hated the way I delivered it. And for that, I am really sorry, because you don't deserve that kind of delivery when I'm trying to communicate something to you.
Okay, so she's apologizing. I didn't expect that to happen. And good for her. Now, is he going to apologize? Because it would make sense, at least as a gesture of goodwill to somebody. And diplomatically, it would make sense even if you didn't really feel like apologizing, because this is the last time you're going to see her. And there's no reason to burn that bridge or leave it as a negative situation. Plus, she just apologized. So, but he, according to, I think, Roxanne and Kat, he never admits that he does anything wrong. And I think this might be kind of the kicker. I've been really confused about Alex. If he apologizes in kind, I mean, he's reserved, so I'm guessing it's not going to be as good as hers is. Hers isn't like amazing, but I would say that compared to other cast members on the various shows that I watch, this is definitely above average in terms of goodwill and as far as apologies go. Because basically she's saying, well, it's not basically, she just said that I still contend that my points were correct, but I delivered it poorly. So, the verbatim things I said about you, I still agree with, but I lost control. So yeah, I don't know exactly what she's apologizing for. It's more of her saying, I don't like that I lost control. Because it's not like she was completely flying off the handle or abusive or anything. She was animated. But, it's a step in a direction of apology and being nice to each other. So if he apologizes even sort of, then I don't know what that says, but it says that he might be not as bad as the range of options available to us for Alex. But if he doesn't apologize, then that's a huge tick in the column that what Roxanne and Kat negatively say about Alex might actually be accurate. So let's watch.
I was really disappointed in myself for being that way.
Yeah.
That's not the way I want to argue ever, like with a partner or a husband.
Yeah, you're right. Nobody's perfect, and everyone's going to have a weak moment. So
I think she keeps saying similar sentences, hoping that he's going to chime in with, yeah, I'm sorry too. So this doesn't look good.
I understand. So I don't have the most efficient packing system, but...
There's nothing else you want to talk about?
Is there something else?
No, I mean, I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like I was talking most of the time. If you have anything you want to say, because I know we're about to go into the next.
Okay. Wow, that was pretty stark. I don't know what I thought would happen, but I didn't think it would be that. I also just wonder if he's kind of oblivious or something, because you're on camera. You would think that given what she just did, even if you weren't sorry, you would say something. But it just is like he's a computer or something. Or he has no empathy. Or he has secret anger. I don't know. Something's going on.
Phase.
Not in particular. I don't know. I wish you the best of luck, I guess. I don't know. It wouldn't be.
So yeah, I wonder if he is resentful of her, and in his mind he is thinking, I was right and she was wrong, and I have made that determination. I'm the logical one. I didn't say anything that was bad, and I'm very sure of myself. And in his mind right now, he knows that she's bidding, she's requesting subtly for an apology, but he just doesn't logically believe that he has to apologize. So, given his presentation, I can imagine that that's true. I don't know. It's just hard. It's so hard to know. There's such a huge range. And this is, like I said, a huge tick in the column of self-centeredness. I don't know, very self-assured superiority, but not necessarily. if he walked away from that conversation the previous night and he's thinking, off camera, away from the cameras, I heard her just disrespect Antonio over and over and over and over again. And I just couldn't live with myself if I didn't tell Antonio, because it didn't seem like Antonio knew. And I didn't lay it on super thick. I just tried to tell him. And maybe Alex just isn't good at delivering things right. He comes across as, superior and arrogant. But maybe he isn't. A lot of people who come across as arrogant aren't actually arrogant on the inside. They're just, in fact, some people come across as arrogant who are actually really insecure. But anyway, it is possible that he is literally arrogant on the inside as well. But anyway, I could see him last night after she left, him thinking, well, I did a good thing. And then when she found out about it, she confronted me, but she was wrong. She said countless things. And I tried to explain to her why I said those things. And given the things she was saying about Antonio, I don't understand why she would be upset that I said those things, because if you hate Antonio so much, why do you care about what I would say? I mean, what's the big deal? It sounds like you're going to break up with him, or at least you should break up with him, or at least for his sake, you should, because, Antonio deserves someone who actually might kind of like him, And then she flew off the handle and I stayed calm. So she's wrong and I'm right. And as a matter of principle, I'm not going to apologize right now, because she was wrong. She was trying to act for the cameras that she was this nice person, but she was talking a load of crap. And maybe he even knows from Kat. I could imagine Kat telling Alex that the woman you're living with just told me a dozen horrible things that she thinks that you are. And, I love you because, Kat loves Alex. And I want to tell you that so that the woman who knows? And there's a chance that Alex has this also in his mind and you decide. So it's still, if I were in his shoes, even with all that, I still would apologize, because I don't know, it's just, it'd be so weird not to in that situation. So there's that. Or, like I said, he just has no empathy or limited empathy or impaired empathy, and he is just so self-assured, even though it's not wise to be that way. I don't know. And there's other options too. What do you think?
Was curious if you felt bad about the other night at all.
Not in particular. I think I was thinking fairly clearly. I mean, maybe it was like a little on the sharper edge of conversations, but I think some of it was warranted.
Yep. All right. Well, cool.
Yeah, okay. And it's also possible that he thinks, well, she didn't really have to apologize, because the way he responded to her apologizing, it wasn't like he was thinking, well, yeah, you better apologize. He was seemingly just like, oh, okay, well, yeah, sometimes things happen. So I don't know, maybe he's just kind of blunted to the outside world. Some people are like that because of their demeanor. They're just kind of born that way. If you've ever had a kid or a sibling that has that trait, they were like that when they were 6 months old. There's indications, and we could talk about neurodiversity, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about regular variable personality traits. Some people are just very on the high strung end of things, but not pathological, very in tune with things and very sensitive to what's happening around you. And then there are people in the middle, and then there are people that just have, they're just, I had friends like this growing up, and they were always, I had friends like this who were very good long distance runners. And I always wondered if they were just kind of blunted to a lot of things. They slow to react, never big emotions. And I always hated long distance running. I liked sprinting, but even after just like a quarter mile, I'd just be like, God, just, and I was, I played sports throughout my childhood. I was conditioning year round. And of course, long distance running was a big part of that, and conditioning and getting in shape. And so I could run long distance if I wanted to, but I very quickly I would feel the discomfort, and I just don't want to, after a quarter mile, just be like, oh, how much longer do we have to go? And meanwhile, I had friends that just are kind of blunted, and they're just kind of like running. I just thought, man, that blunted demeanor really comes in handy in long distance running, because they could just run and run and run. And when I asked them, they would say, yeah, it doesn't feel good, but I just don't pay attention to it. And it's like all I could pay attention to. It's like, this sucks, stop running. This sucks, stop running. And I'm sensitive in a lot of other ways. Like if I have a sweater on and there's a tag and it's a little scratchy, it's just like, I can't survive under those conditions. There's a lot, I cut a lot of tags off of things. I can't wear a watch. It's surprising I can wear a wedding ring, actually. But I've always wanted to be like a watch guy. I feel like every guy's a watch guy these days, but I always wanted to wear a watch. I can't. It's like I just like want to take it off. I think I've talked about how right now I'm not wearing shoes because I don't like wearing shoes. If I'm in the car, I'll take my shoes off. When I was a professor, I would take my shoes off sometimes, particularly in my office. Students would come into my office, we would talk, and I'd take my shoes off and I'd put my feet up on my desk because I don't like being uncomfortable or confined, or I don't like things touching me. There's a profile that this fits sometimes with like what they call highly sensitive people, that I do seem to have some of the traits. But anyway, so maybe he's just like a long distance runner. Okay, so I thought I might do a guided self-talk session, if you will, that is based on some of the work that I've been doing recently. And so I'm going to be speaking for myself, and you can ignore this or say it to yourself along with me. And I don't know how I'm going to word this, but so Kirk, I deserve to have the time to think about my own needs and my own defenses, my own joy and my own flaws. And I also deserve grace for having flaws. I try hard to, do well and do good in the world. I try to not hurt other people's feelings, but I do sometimes. I try to not make mistakes, but I do make mistakes sometimes. And what I deserve is a space within myself and within my support system to be able to explore that and to get feedback that is safe and caring, but truthful. And I deserve to, in my mind, be able to tolerate that. It's hard, but I deserve to be a human that has some flaws. The phrase I use is like, we're all 97%, 95% good, and we're all 3 to 5% bad, using simplistic terms like good and bad. But, we're all basically good people, for the aside from psychopaths like Ted Bundy and those kind of folks. But, for the rest of us, we're good people. We care about other people. We're trying to avoid harming others. We're trying to make a positive difference in the world or the people around us, or we're trying to figure things out. And yet we have flaws. And so many of us are not given the space. We don't give the space for ourselves. We're not told we're supposed to have that kind of space. And so I deserve to be a human being. I deserve to be okay with being a human being with flaws. It's okay that I have flaws. It's okay that I make mistakes. It's okay that I hurt people's feelings. It's not great, but it's normal, and it doesn't make me a bad person. It's okay that I say stupid shit sometimes and I humiliate myself. So it doesn't make me a bad person. It's okay that some people don't like me. That's a hard one to swallow, so maybe I need to say that a couple more times. It's okay that some people don't like me. It's okay that some people don't like me. That's a hard one for me. That was the hardest. Yeah, maybe there's something else that was harder for you. And then that tells me that, and maybe you in some other area, what we need to be self-talking and exploring and healing from. So my point is that, I, Kirk, deserve to explore my defenses and feel like it's okay to do so, and that I have the time to do so, and I value myself. That's the point. That I value myself. I value myself enough to take the time to be able to, explore my flaws and my defenses and where they come from, and I deserve to take it easy on myself, but tell myself I need to work on those things. And everyone out there, please take care of yourself, because you deserve it. You really, really do.